Hello folks, in this one we're looking at some used EVs. These are 2019's the oldest one in this video, and they start well under 10 grand. And there are some fantastic cars on offer in this. This is not a complete list of every EV you should consider. These are some that I think offer some decent value right now at the time of filming this, which is August 2024. Give the video a thumbs up. Let's crack straight on and look at some live ads on Auto Trader. So we're starting off with the Renault Zoe. This is a 2019 model. It's an R110, 41 kilowatt hour. There is, if you go for the R135, I think it is, that's the bigger battery version, but this one should serve you well. 7 grand, essentially, 38,000 miles on it, 2019 model, 186 miles of range. So that's going to be fine for most people sort of around town, most people that are doing more local journeys than anything else. A lot of people cling on to the Euro NCAP score on these. It's not great. I think got 1 star on Euro NCAP. Go and have a look at Euro NCAP and read the report for yourself and just see how much of it's relevant to you. A lot of Euro NCAP stuff these days is about how many driver assistance features you've got. Things like pedestrian collision avoidance systems, those kind of things. The crash test is still a part of it, but there's a lot more that goes to it. So just have a look at it and put your mind at ease, or perhaps it's one for you to immediately write off. If you want to go for one of those R135s, you're probably going to be putting about 2 grand to that price to get one with sensible mileage. And that then does give you a bit more in the way of range and some faster charging, I believe. 0 to 60 in 11.4 seconds, 107 brake horsepower. Not the most exciting car in the world, but it will do you a turn, as will this little Say Me. I've got one of these. I got it recently. This one's got 41,000 miles on it, 41,500 miles. 160 miles of range is claimed. You can get that in the real world. It is possible in these things without completely hypermiling. I've never seen it below 4 miles per kilowatt hour, to be honest. And there aren't too many EVs I can say that about. So 8,659 quid for a 2021. The fastest it can charge is about 40 kilowatts. So if you are doing regular long journeys, it's not the car for you. But around town, obviously, if you've got a wall box at home, it's brilliant. A great second car for most households. And for a lot of people, they could actually run it as their first car. 12.3 seconds to 62, 82 horsepower. You know, it does the job, and it costs next to nothing to insure. I actually added this on as a second car on my Tesla policy, and it cost 150 quid a year more. So not too shabby, I think. Next one's a BMW i3, and they often get overlooked by a lot of people. They're very quirky looking and very sort of individual, and there's something to be said about that, I think. This is a great price, 10 grand for a 2019 with 28,000 miles on it. They have sort of held on to their value reasonably well, generally speaking. So that does look like a really good price on one of these with that kind of mileage on it. Performance-wise, let's have a look. 7.3 seconds to 62, 168 horsepower. So not to be sniffed at, the i3, and certainly one to consider, again, if you're not doing those super long journeys. If you do stretch your legs a bit more often, the ID3 offers tremendous value. Now, there are problems with it, but they're first world problems. The infotainment system's a bit poo. The controls for it are slidey things that don't light up. It's not the end of the world. If I was reviewing this as a £37,000 car, as I think it was when it came out, I'd tear those things to shreds. But at 12.5 grand, I'm a very forgiving man. 2020, 55,000 miles on it. This one's the Pro Performance with 265 miles of range claimed. Sat-nav and heated seats. 12.5 grand with 55,000 miles. It's a one-owner car, which is always great to see. 0 to 62, 7.3 seconds. 201 brake horsepower, and you can rapid charge in these as well. So if you are doing those long journeys, it shouldn't be a problem. Next is the Hyundai Kona, 64 kilowatt hour premium SE, 279 miles of range in this one, 51,500 miles, a 2019 model. I always call these things, the Kona and the Niro, I call them the thinking man's EV, because they just offer so much for your money. It's not the most exciting car in the world, but it will get the job done. The Hyundai groups come on leaps and bounds, and they really embraced electric cars quite early on. and it shows really 279 miles of range. As I said, 51,500 miles. Let's look at the performance on this one. 7.6 to 62, 201 brake horsepower. Again, you can rapid charge. That should be a very easy car to live with. The Kia Niro is obviously its sort of stablemate, its cousin. They are a bit more money for some reason. They're probably a little bit better looking, if we're being completely honest, but there's not a great deal in it. But aside from that, they're extremely similar cars. This one's 282 miles of range. But aside from that, very similar, 45,000 miles, and it can charge a little bit quicker, I believe. Tesla Model 3, standard range plus, rear wheel drive, 16 grand. I mean, that's a fantastic car for £16,000. No heat pump on that era of Model 3. Certainly in the rear-wheel drive versions, 254 miles of range, 56,000 miles on it, and these things can charge at a rate of knots. And obviously, you've got use of the supercharger network, although much of that's open to everyone now. 16,000 miles, Tesla Model 3. I think that's a brilliant choice. Honestly, the value for money that that car offers, I think, is off the chart. Folks, none of the cars in this video are shown as having previously been an insurance write-off, and that could be verified with an HPI check. However, those standard HPI checks, even some from some really big well-known brands, don't look at salvage history of cars, and there are currently thousands of cars on the road, possibly into the hundreds of thousands of cars on the road, possibly into the hundreds of thousands, that will completely legitimately pass an HPI test, but actually have been written off by an insurance company. The reason for this is that insurers don't have to log an insurance write-off on the MyAfter database, and because of that, many choose not to, and they end up going through salvage auctions. In this sample report here, we can see a car, and we can see its salvage history. I've done videos in the past. In fact, there's one pinned on my channel page, and you'll see in that there are cars on offer at main dealer showing HPI clear. They've actually been through a salvage auction. They're actually a Cat S write-off, but because it wasn't recorded, the HPI check stays completely clear. V-Check can put that right for you. It's only going to cost you from £3 to do a V-Check on your car, and the top level check is a tenner. That's way cheaper than some other brands that are advertised on lots of YouTube videos, and I think it's just as good. I really do. I've been using V-Check for a long time. I've now been sort of advertising V-Check, if you like, endorsing V-Check in these videos for about 3 years, and that's because I believe in the product, I believe in what they do, and I think it's a brilliant price. My link to V-Check is in the video description and pinned as a top comment. If you use that, they throw me a quid. It helps support the channel. Thanks ever so much. Next, we've got the VW ID4. Now, this car offers you a lot of space, a reasonable amount of performance, and a good range. 320 miles of range, 45,000 miles. This is a 2022 car. God knows what this cost when it was new, but it would have been north of 40, I'm sure. 17,475. Full VW service history. Not that service history is quite the same on an EV. 8.5 seconds to 62, 201 brake horsepower. And it's not a bad looking car. It does look modern. For that much money, that still looks like a new car. For those of you that want the practicality of an estate car, but you want the high driving position of an SUV, this will do the job for you. You can also consider the Skoda Enyaq, which is sort of the cousin, if you like, of that ID4. They're essentially the same car underneath. I probably prefer the Enyaq. I think it's a good looking thing. I think it's well screwed together. The interior's a little bit nicer, perhaps. That's 18 grand on the Enyaq. This one's a 2021 model with 45,000 miles. So you are getting a bit more value with the ID4, but the Enyaq's also a very good choice. Next, we've got the Polestar 2, and this is a very nice Polestar 2. It's got the Pilot Plus pack, 403 brake horsepower, 292 miles of range. 2021 model with 57,500 miles on the clock. 0 to 62 in 4.5 seconds. That's right, 4.5 seconds. 402 brake horsepower. It's a great car. I love the Polestar 2. I just think it's a brilliant, solid car. For those of you that find the Tesla Model 3 sort of too sparse and a bit too sort of futuristic, maybe in some ways, the Polestar 2 should be the one you look at, I think, because it is more familiar. It does feel more like a car. If you're really tall, you might not want to go for it. A lot of tall people have commented in my Polestar 2 videos that they don't find it particularly comfortable. But if you're a short arse like me, maybe it's one to think about. 19,777 quid, 2021 model with 57,500 miles. Good car. BMW iX3, massively popular car, massively popular. This is 2021 model, 34,500 miles on it, 28,000 quid, 282 miles of range, 0 to 62 in 6.8 seconds, and 282 brake horsepower. And then finally, we've got the Porsche Taycan. This is the one that's been made famous by a YouTuber buying one of these for way too much money when he should have leased it, and then making a mint, complaining about it. 47,000 miles on the clock, 2020 model, 40 grand. This is the Taycan Performance 4S, four-wheel drive, 47,000 miles. Obviously, performance on it is pretty special. 4 seconds, 0 to 62, 523 brake horsepower. It's a good-looking car. It really is. It will get you down the road at a rate of knots. It's 40 grand. It's lost so much of its value. It's untrue. And for a lot of people, that's the only way they're ever going to get into a semi-modern Porsche is by getting their hands on one of these. Now, lots of people are going to say, yeah, it's all right buying a used EV, but the battery's going to die in 3 weeks. That's generally a nonsense, right? You can get a state of health report on a used EV. The seller might be able to provide that for you, but if not, there are places you could go to get a battery health check done. In fact, some of the cars actually have it in their software, so you can check the state of health via the menu system on the infotainment system. So that's not too much of a concern. Also consider when people say, oh yeah, but it's going to die after however long, just think about how much warranty you get with your petrol or diesel car. Now, there are some companies that offer more, but lots of companies still offer 3 years, 60,000 mile warranty. Most EVs come with an 8-year warranty on the battery and drivetrain and the motors. So immediately they seem to have a bit more faith in their technology than a lot of those traditional car manufacturers that are offering 3 years, 60,000 miles on their petrol, diesel, gearbox, etc. So give that some consideration. Certainly you should check on the battery state of health. It's just good practice to do so. But don't believe the headlines always, folks. There's a lot of nonsense out there and a lot of people spreading nonsense to get clicks, essentially. I'm not one of them, and therefore I don't get many clicks. Thanks ever so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 50,000 this year. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed and click the notification bell. Please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to go and check out VCheck using the link in the description. See you on the next one.